there, everybody. Welcome to Beer with the Boss, Season 2. This is the first episode of the second season of our podcast. I'm Rodrigo Matos, PO at Webera. And as you know, here at Beer with the Boss, we like to talk about technology and, of course, to have a cold beer as well every once in a while or every episode to help the conversation flow smoother, like a well-crafted beer, of course. So you guys who are listening to us, grab a cold one and let's get this party started, everyone.
And I'm Joe Zamboni, CEO at Webera and co-host of the show. I'm here pouring you a pint of knowledge on the latest tech trends. Cheers to another episode of Beer with the Boss in another season. Thank you for the introduction, Rodrigo.
Thank you, Joe.
And what are you drinking today?
Well, I'm drinking beer from a local brewery. As you know, I like to drink locally brewed beers from a brewery called Barco. I think in season 1, I drank 1 or 2 beers from this brewery. It's a different one for me. It's a Weiss beer. I like wheat beer. But this is called Thai because it has a little bit of ginger in it, which makes it very refreshing. And how about you, Joe? What are you drinking?
Yeah, I'm drinking a Paulaner, Hefeweizen, which probably translate should be halfways. I don't know. But yeah, it's a Paulaner. It's a good one. I think I drink some of them on the last season. Still have them, so keep drinking.
That's good, man. That's good. So we're going to talk about remote work today again. It was one of the biggest hits during our last season. And we know that remote work has become increasingly popular in the recent years, especially because of the pandemic as well, of course, but even before that. But we know, and people all over the world can notice that working remotely doesn't seem to be something that everyone can do as smooth as should be. So we want to bring some questions for you today, Joel, as Webera is a company who was founded as a remote company, and you always say that we will be remote till the end, so forever. So I want to bring you some questions as well. I know you've been working in some things internally to make it better for everybody to work remotely. Can I ask you then just a few questions, but I want to start with the first one. How can someone working remotely establish a routine first and then boundaries as well? So routine and boundaries as a remote worker. Is it possible, and how can we do it?
Yeah. So one of the videos we call end talks, which are kind of brown bags internally that we did a couple weeks ago, and I made actually a video about the same subject and we posted on YouTube, I think, was exactly about that. So there are some things that the office helps us with its physical boundaries, like by having a door, by having a hallway, a place to have a meeting, a place to sit, a place to drink coffee, things like that. So there are those physical boundaries on our office that we take for granted, or we used to take for granted because they were part of the furniture, let's say, part of what work means. And while we are working at home, those things are not there. So you don't have a door that you cross. I mean, unless you have office, but you normally don't have a door that you cross to be working. Or many of us, we work from different places. Some of them like working from their home or from some coffee shop or something. So I guess the idea here is that you have to set up some cues that will remind you that you are working. Either put your headset on, a place to sit, like a small plate, on your desk that I'm working now, or something, some cues that remind you that at that point you are working. And that helps your brain to create a routine. And brains love routine. That's why we try to keep most of the things repeatable, because we can then use the free time to do other stuff, to think about other things that are more specific, let's say. And then so I think the cues are very important, and the cues can be for other people too, or in the house. Like I don't know, you can say, if I am in this room, I'm working, so don't bother me, or pay attention that I'm working. Some of those things. So I think is establish some cues. I think that's the idea here, that remind you and everyone on your home that you are working.
That's great.
So I don't know if that help.
If I can share some of my views on that, for me, to make me change from home mode, parent, husband, to professional mode, first thing, don't stay on my pajamas. If I stay on my pajamas, that's downhill. I'm going to have a horrible day. So wear pants or at least some shorts, but not your pajamas. And one thing that I've been doing a lot at home recently is to wear shoes. So I have like a pair of sneakers that I wear inside the house, and I've been realizing that I've been more focused at my job tasks because I'm wearing shoes. I feel more professional
Yeah,
instead of being
interesting.
barefoot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's whatever suits suit you. It is not there's no one solution for everyone.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
there's people that are okay with deciding that they're working, and it's fine. There are people like me that's always working. No, just joking.
You're laughing, but I know that's true. Actually,
It's like
yeah.
if the house is the joke, but no, just joking. Then there are some cues that helps people, and it's important. It's like on this day and age that, like, I mean, we're moving. We have the opportunity now to have a better way to work. So if you wanna this work remotely, work like companies change their way of thinking, and everyone's part responsible. It's like it's not like since we started with this the industrial revolution where people had to go to a place to work. That's kind of the first time that we have the chance, real chance to everyone be able to remote. There are companies that are doing this now, like industrial companies that are sending parts of the equipment to be people start to build at their homes parts of the equipment. So I'm not saying about like big equipments, but like small things. There are remote workers building things for other companies, which is awesome. It's like so, but to this work, we have to make it right. So it's everyone's responsibility to make this work. So that's a good thing, actually.
The next question, it might be also a question that it will vary from people, from person to person. But if you could give us any tips on how you help yourself to stay organized working at home, and especially managing your time, because especially companies that give you more flexibility on choosing the time you're going to work, I guess it's easy for people who have struggle organizing themselves, or struggling or struggle organizing their routines or their schedules, to keep track of their time and be able to like meet deadlines, for example. So do you have any tips on staying organized and managing time effectively working from home?
Yeah, we did share. I think it was a year ago. The last year, we normally do this of like sharing a book or something internally. And the book that I most think about being organized, or something like when you think about organizing time effectively, or things like that of that nature, is important to us to have this. How can I say? Ability to define what when you're working. So I think the book I'm talking about is called Indistractable, and the main idea on that book is to schedule time to work. It's pretty simple. It was like you have a task, you schedule a task, you schedule the time to do that task. Then you notice that everything else that happens beside you working on that task is distraction. It's a very simple concept. No, every most of people already do this naturally. It's just when you are aware of this, that you are doing this on with the objective of not being distracted, you kind of pay attention, and you are more productive. My point is, schedule your work, schedule your time for work. That's, I think, the best way to time management you, because with that you create the perfect definition of what is distracting you of from completing your work. I think that's my idea. I don't know if you have any other take on
Absolutely
it.
the same. Well, Google Calendar, one of my favorite tools. Maybe the tool we use the most, always opening Google Calendar and booking something there, because then nobody's going to book a meeting while you have that time to work on your tasks. Because, of course, meetings are also part of your work, but we have this joke internally, right? Like when we have a new sprint starting, we have a lot of sprint reviews, retrospectives, and plannings. And then we say, okay, sprint reviews and retrospectives Monday and Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I can start working, because then you have to have
Yeah.
time to do your tasks as well. So if you don't book time for that, people can also want to book meetings with you. So you have to block your calendar. So Google Calendar or any other tool you use as your calendar, right? You talked about distractions. I don't want to say that family and kids are a distraction, of course not. But as a father as well, and you are a father. But how do you have any tips as well for those who struggle with the challenges that working from home brings when you have a family, when you have kids, especially during like vacations or school holidays? How can you be a parent, a husband, or a wife and still manage your tasks and work from home?
I guess routine is the most important thing. Here in US, we have kind of the benefit that the school takes longer during the day, like occupy most of the day. Then you have to do other activities with kids, is basically, right? I'm trying to talk about kids. So I think routine is the most important thing with kids. You have to plan ahead. Like as an example, if they will be at home and someday, you have to schedule some time with them, maybe some and activities, external activities where you can help them. There's not really an easy way, and sometimes you have to leave the house, like you have to work from somewhere, because sometimes it's hard, especially with young kids. It's very complicated to handle working remotely and having small kids, young kids at home. I was watching. There is a guy who was watching on YouTube, Abraham Piper, and he was giving an advice to parents of young kids. So his advice was a game. He was tired. He has young kids, and he was tired, and he was, how can I play with these kids? And his idea was like, he laid down on the floor so he can, and then he tells the kid, "Okay, start running, and I'll try to catch you." And then the kids were running like in circles around him. He was laid down, and at every other minute, he tries to catch the kid's feet. So like his kids were having a blast because if he was playing with them, but he was like, "I'm taking a nap. That's my nap. I just have to. I just have once in a while, once every other minute, to try to catch them." It's bad parenting, yes, it's kind of, but sometimes kids will enjoy it. They'll play with you. They will be and you'll be laid down. So it is. You have to be creative. You have to be creative.
Yeah.
And I mean, at Arabera, we don't like. We play. Sometimes there's meeting that people bring their kids, sit in front and watch the meeting together. So we don't have this. Oh, we cannot. We know that we are kind of in the people's house, like so we are inside it. Everyone's home, but yeah, be a little creative, keep a routine, so they learn that when you're doing this, they cannot do that, and be consistent, right? So don't consistency is important for kids. Routine and consistency. Then they will learn, and you'll be part of their routine too. So they know that, oh, this time of the day I have to do my math or something. I have to draw. Ask them to draw something, and then they will come back and show to you, and then you have that time. It's like, okay, in 10 you have 10 minutes to drawing something for me and bring back to me. So they have this time, and you can work a little bit, and then, so those things, creative.
That's
You
great.
have any other that you use with besides this bad parenting from
No,
Abraham?
my technique is much worse. Like tablet and YouTube. So playing a little bit is better. Yeah, but YouTube they get sick of it as well. They don't. She does. My daughter, she doesn't want, like, she watches YouTube for 5 minutes and then they want attention, right? Because they used to go into school and playing a lot, so they want to play as well. I
Yeah.
guess one thing, this thing, like laying on the floor, and that's an example of giving them some attention. Just try and give them half an hour for every 2 hours that you focus on something. Give them half an hour, play a little bit. They will be fine, and they will
Yeah.
cherish that as well. And you will cherish that as well because you have this opportunity to stay at home and be with your kids.
There are people that like the Pomodoro thing.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't really like. There are people that I don't really like because I like when I get into the flow and then I can do things. If I cut the flow, it's like I get long to get back to the flow. But there are people that use work. So maybe you can do the Pomodoro and then every 5 minutes you go say hi to them and ask them to do another thing every 25 minutes or something like that.
yeah, yeah. If that works for you, absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't really work for me as well because once I am in the zone, that's when things happen. Last question, Joel. Working from home, you are basically there with your family. You have your peers and co-workers with you, sometimes on the other or in the other side of the world. How can we keep this sense of community and belonging to the market when we are in our houses or in our homes?
I guess that would be a bad thing that I would say, but like use social media. Sometimes a little bit is good to learn how people are doing, but not to just watch things, to communicate. Find a friend, send a WhatsApp message or SMS, and commit to like once a week to talk with some friend that you don't talk for a while. Schedule some lunch or coffee some other day of the week, or some what's it called, some meeting through Hangouts or Google Chat or Google Meet or something like that, or Zoom. It's kind of the same. You just have to be more aware of this. You just have to think about like, okay, I am in my office at home. I cannot be isolated. So let's send a WhatsApp or Messenger or something every week to someone, so you don't get lost in, because everyone's like that right now. So I mean, most of people, no, some of people are like remotely working, things like that. So they can, if everyone is doing the same, and I believe so, people don't see us like a strange thing. You can be upfront, right? I'm working from home, just trying to contact people around once in a while. How are you doing? It's fun. It's fun. Like I think we both are part of the Lunch Club, right? It's a platform that we have a meeting every week, right? We can have two meetings or something like that. It's good, right? We meet random people over the internet. Some are good, some are bad, but it's learning. It's like a sense of, oh, there's someone outside that's doing completely different things. And most important, most strange or important, it's you find these entrepreneurs and people trying to pitch their products is so nice. It's like it's so amazing.
That's a good one. I was thinking about that, about Lunch Club, and I do that, like, because not only Lunch Club, but like talking to a friend who I don't talk to for a long time or who I haven't seen for a while. If we can have a meeting with someone in the other side of the world for a professional purpose, why can't I have a meeting with a friend of half an hour and just send him a hangouts meeting or whatever and just talk to him a little bit? I've been doing that for a while now, since the middle of last year I started doing that, and it made me much more connected and closer, made me closer to people who were in my life years and years ago, and pandemic came as well. And so yeah, that's a very good tip, Joe. I guess that's it for this episode, right? I have no beer left. I'm
Me too.
fast drinker. But well, Joe, thank you so much
No,
for that.
we're slow today. We're slow today. We drink.
Well, we're this first episode of season 2, right? So we're getting used to it again. I'm glad to be back. And what do you think, Joe? Let's get together next week again for another beer and another topic.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yep, definitely. Next week we'll be here. Hope if anyone wants to participate, also enjoy beer with us, please hit us on LinkedIn or Twitter or somewhere. I'm Joe Zamboni, then Rodrigo Matos. Just find out on there are links to our profiles on the website. Now we have a website. Soon we'll bring a Discord also.
That's cool.
It's ready. It'll be yeah. So we can talk. You can talk about, ask questions for us there. That's it.
That's awesome. So thank you everybody for listening to us. Don't forget to subscribe, to like this episode, activate notifications. And we hope to see you all here next week again. We bring new beers, a new topic, maybe a guest. Who knows? Maybe it could be you who's listening to us there. Just let us know. And that's it from here. Thank you guys. Cheers. Cheers, Joe.
And remember, like remote work, good beer is always better than share with your friends. Cheers.
Very good. Cheers, Joe.